I am KMS Sailaja Rani, lecturer in computer science, working in YA Government Degree College for Women, Chirala. In this video, the learning objects are the essence of software engineering practice, principles of software engineering, and software myths. A generic software process model composed of a set of activities that established a framework for software engineering practice. Generic framework activities include communication, planning, modeling, construction, deployment, and umbrella activities that establish a skeleton architecture for a software engineering work. Software engineering practice is a problem-solving activity that follows a set of core principles. Outlined common sense steps for the essence of problem solving and the essence of software engineering practice are: understand the problem, plan a solution, implement the plan, evaluate the result for accuracy. Understanding the problem includes communication and analysis. Plan a solution includes modeling and system design. Carry out or implement the plan includes code generation. Examine or evaluation the result accuracy includes testing and quality assurance. Now come to the understand the problem. Suppose anybody posed a problem to you. First you will think about that problem and then understand. In the context of software engineering, understanding the problem is not always easy. A series of essential questions and their answers and the time spent is required to understand the problem. A few simple questions are: who are the stakeholders? What data, functions and features are required to properly solve that particular problem? Can the problem compartmentalized? Is it possible to represent smaller problems that may be easier to understand? Can the problem be represented graphically? Can an analysis model be created? If you get the answers for all these questions, you may understand the problem. Come to the plan the solution. After understanding the problem, start to do little design. Before going to the design, think a few simple questions. Have you seen similar problem before? Is there any existing software that implements the data, functions and features that are required? Has a similar problem been solved? If so, are elements of the solution reusable? Can subproblems be defined? If so, are the solutions readily apparent for the subproblems? Can you represent a solution in a manner that leads to effective implementation? Can a design model be created? Then come to the implement the plan. The design created serves as the roadmap for the system you want to build. Plan will allow to proceed without getting lost. Here also we have to know the questions are: does the solution conform to the plan? Is source code traceable to the design model? Is each component part of the solution probably correct? Have the design and code be reviewed? Or better, have been correctness proofs been applied to the algorithm? Next, evaluate the result. It can be sure that solution is perfect? No, we can't be sure that solution is perfect, but can be sure that designed sufficient number of tests to uncover as many errors as possible. To find out that is it possible to test each component part of the solution? Has a reasonable test strategy been implemented? Does the solution produce results that conform to the data, functions and features that are required? Has the software been validated against all stakeholders' requirements? Now come to the software engineering principles. David Hooker has proposed 7 principles that focus on software engineering practices as a whole. The 7 principles are: the first principle is the reason it all exists. The second principle is keep it simple, stupid. And third principle is maintain the vision. And fourth principle is what you produce, others will consume. And fifth one is be open to the future. And the sixth principle is plan ahead for reuse. And the seventh principle is think. Now see the first principle. A software system exists for one reason: to provide value to its users. Before specifying a system requirement, before noting a piece of system functionality, before determining the hardware platforms or development processes, one question how to confirm is does this add real value to the system? If answer is no, don't do it, because all other principles support this one only. And now come to the second principle, keep it simple, stupid. Software design is not a haphazard process. There are many factors to consider in any design effort. All design should be as simple as possible, but no simpler. Simple and easily maintainable design takes a lot of thought and work over multiple iterations to simplify. The payoff is software that is more maintainable and less error prone. The third principle is maintain the vision. A clear vision is required to the success of a software project. Having an empowered architect who can hold the vision and enforce compliance helps ensure a very successful software project. Now come to the fourth principle. Fourth principle is nothing but what you produce, others will consume. In some way or other, someone else will use, maintain, document or otherwise depend on being able to understand the system. So always specify, design and implement knowing someone else will have to understand what you are doing. And come to the fifth principle, that is be open to the future. A system with a long lifetime has more value. The system must be ready to adapt the changes and lead to reuse of an entire system for latest updates. Now come to the sixth principle, that is the plan ahead for reuse. Reuse saves time and effort. Planning ahead for reuse reduces the cost and increases the value of both the reusable components and the system into which they are incorporated. And come to the last and seventh principle, that is think. Placing clear, complete thought before action almost always produce better results. In every software engineer and every software team simply followed Hooker's 7 principles, many of the difficulties experienced in building complex computer-based system would be eliminated. Now come to the software myths. Software myths are the erroneous beliefs about software and process that is used to build it and can be traced to the earliest stages of computing. Today, most knowledgeable software engineering professionals Recognize myths for what they are: misleading attitudes that have caused serious problems for managers and practitioners alike. Now, old attitudes and habits are difficult to modify, and remnants of software myths remain. They are management myths, customer myths, and practitioner myths. Now come to the management myths. Managers with software responsibility, like managers in most disciplines, are often under pressure to maintain budget, keep schedules from slipping, and improving quality. A software manager grasps at belief in a software myth if that belief will lessen the pressure. Example for the management myth is: if I decide to outsource the software project to a third party, I can just relax and let that firm build it. But in reality, if an organization does not understand how to manage and control software projects internally, it will invariably struggle when it outsources software projects. Now come to the customer myths. In many cases, the customer believes myths about software because software managers and practitioners do little to correct misinformation. Because of these beliefs, the customer always is under dissatisfaction. Here, example for the myth is: a general statement of objective is sufficient to begin writing programs. We can fill in the details later. But in reality, although a comprehensive and stable statement is not always possible, an ambiguous statement of objectives is a recipe for disaster. Unambiguous requirements are developed only through effective and continuous communication between customer and developer. Now come to the practitioners myths. Myths that are still believed by software practitioners have been fostered by over 50 years of programming culture. During the early days, programming was viewed as an art of form. Old ways and attitudes die hard. The example for the practitioners myths are: once we write the program and get it to work, our job is done. But in reality, someone once said that the sooner you begin writing code, the longer it will take you to get done. Industry data indicates that between 60 and 80% of all effort expended on software will be expended after it will be delivered to the customer for the first time. Now come to the summary. The generic framework activities, including communication, planning, modeling, construction and deploying, and umbrella activities, establish a skeleton architecture for a software engineering work. Outline common sense steps for the essence of problem solving and the essence of software engineering practitioner. Understand the problem, plan a solution, implement the plan, evaluate the result for accuracy. And in this video, in addition to the above two topics, we also learned the 7 principles proposed by the David Hooker. The 7 principles focus on software engineering practice as a whole. The reason it exists is the first principle, and second principle is the keep it simple, stupid, and third is the maintain the vision, and fourth principle is the what you produce others will consume, and fifth one is the be open to the future, and sixth one is the plan ahead for reuse, and seventh principle is nothing but the think. In addition to these three, and in this video we also learned about the software myths. Software myths is nothing but the erroneous beliefs, and here also again we will learn the three types of software myths, that is the management myths, customer myths and practitioner myths. Thank you for viewing this video. Happy learning.